Live, this is 24-hour News 8.
First tonight at 6, a push for change in the way Michigan seats juries for criminal trials.
You might be guaranteed a jury of your peers in this country, but critics say that's not happening here. And they turn to Target 8 to make their voices heard.
Target 8's Coco McAvoy examined the racial makeup of juries in West Michigan and took her findings to Kent County's chief judge.
Good evening to the both of you. Courts in Michigan are not required to track the racial makeup of juries, but we found that 2 West Michigan counties do it anyway by asking jurors to fill out this voluntary survey. We used the resulting data from Kent and Kalamazoo counties to see if our juries are as diverse as our communities. In the heart of downtown Grand Rapids stands the Kent County Courthouse. On a Monday morning, criminal cases are scheduled for trial, and each floor of the courthouse fills with prospective jurors.
Will all the potential jurors please stand?
But this Monday morning was different. After the jury was seated, the defense objected that 2 people of color were kicked out of the pool by the prosecution.
I'll hear from Mr. Greene first.
The only thing that was obvious is that she deliberately removed the minorities from the jury.
Ultimately, the jury remained the same.
I can't say that race alone was the basis here.
But the courtroom showdown gave us a glimpse into a deeper problem. And do you think minority representation is an issue in Michigan?
Well, I think it is because traditionally it seems minorities have been underrepresented on juries.
And by how much? Target 8 analyzed last year's court data from Kent and Kalamazoo counties and compared it to the most recent census.
It's somewhat disappointing.
That's because in Kent County, the African American and Latino populations each make up about 10% of the community. But court data shows only 6% of jurors were African American and 3.9% were Latino.
You'd like to be as broadly represented as possible, and while I'm not looking for the precise statistical equivalence on juries as we have in the community, I'd sure like to be somewhere in that neighborhood.
Target 8 found the same problem in Kalamazoo County. Census data shows the African American population at around 11% and Latinos at 4.5%, while last year's data shows just 6% of jurors were African American and just 1.6% of Latinos were represented. Critics blame the system Michigan uses to select potential jurors. Our state is one of only 7 that still pull jurors from a single source, relying solely on driver's licenses or state ID cards from the Secretary of State. The 43 other states can select jurors from multiple lists like unemployment or welfare rolls to cast a wider net.
Currently, we have issues in several counties where there are not enough jurors on the pool to serve, as well as, our Constitution affords us an opportunity to have a jury of our peers.
Representative Brian Banks is pushing legislation to change the way jurors are selected in Michigan. His 2 bills would add the names of people who file for income tax and people who are registered to vote.
I certainly would be supportive of exploring alternative mechanisms of expanding the base.
To ensure every defendant, no matter the outcome, is given an equal chance at trial.
We want the members of the community to believe and feel that this is truly a just and fair system.
Johnson says courts struggle to see diverse juries in part because addresses on licenses are unreliable, and that's because people move around a lot. He also says the majority of no-shows are African American and Latino people, perhaps partly due to language barriers or mistrust of the system.